a free preview running right now on Fox.com. Because I found out that you cannot watch Fox Live with the DirecTV information you gave me, but that's okay. I got to watch all the games last week on TBS. So.
Really? I watch it live all the time.
Yeah, well, I can't do it on the computer, apparently.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, well. Anyway, welcome to our channel, folks. We are live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Appreciate you guys being here. As you see, it is just Jacob and myself tonight. Earl is not here. Earl is out of town traveling, so good for him. He gets a night off, and he gets to avoid this conversation tonight, which I think he will be appreciative of. So, but we got stuff to talk about. We got lots to do. I've got the Braves game on this screen right here. Watching World Series here. Excited. Can't wait. Got to stay up with my boys the other night and watch the Braves clinch the NLCS. Jacob's having problems.
Sorry, yeah. And then to top it off, I'm playing the World Series game on my phone, and every 5 seconds it's... Oh, okay. Sorry. I had the headphones connected to... We have one set of wireless headphones.
Okay.
And they were hooked up to my phone. And Allie was watching a show, and then I started watching the World Series on my phone again, and it started playing through the headphones.
Nice.
So I have to disconnect the headphones real quick.
Eddie Rosario just got a double again. There we go. It's been a pretty good game for the Braves, aside from Charlie Morton fracturing his tibia. Fibula.
Is that what he did?
Yeah, that's what they said. Fractured fibula, tibia. Let me see what the alert says.
Oh, that's why it kept pausing on me then.
Fractured right fibula.
She's not listening to me.
And so he's going to be out until next spring. La Malediction, how you doing tonight? Thanks for joining us.
What?
LAFC beating Sounders.
Already? Nice.
I don't have that score up. I got like I was just saying, I got the Braves game on over here. So, World Series, that trumps everything.
Tito, is that you? It's got to be Tito if you mentioned LAFC.
Maybe Adam Duvall get another 2-run shot right here. Hit a monster 2-run shot earlier.
Yeah,
came off the bat at 115.8 miles per hour.
He's a big beefy dude for a center fielder.
Yeah, he is. He really is. Like, man, I've been going back and looking at all the LA media coverage of the NLCS and looking at all the crap that they were talking about the Braves. And like, there was Bill Plaschke, one of the big writers out of LA. He wrote an article when the Braves were up 2-1 in the series, saying that the Braves were on the ropes.
Yeah, he told us last week.
Yeah. So Bill Plaschke, go eat some Waffle House
and
suck on the chop. How about that?
I don't know why you listen to their media. Of course it's going to be bad.
I try not to.
That's like us getting our information from Jerry. I mean...
I try not to, but when that's what's being purported, and then like you had a Mets announcer on the radio call or on the TV call for one of the guys. I think the other one was like a Dodger guy or something. Just like, I'm sorry, and pardon my language, sucking off the Dodgers the entire series. Like, it got real old real fast.
Yeah.
So, but anyway. Hey Jacob, hello, it is. What's up, guys? Getting ready for Saturday. Yes, we are getting ready for Saturday. We're excited. Jacob's gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. We're gonna have a special guest with us on Saturday. Or is she not going now?
No, my wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, who? What? Yeah. Yeah, my wife's gonna be there. So we're looking forward to it. She gets to see what I see when I go and leave her here with the 2 kids all the time. She'll get to see the on-field view that I get to sit and watch.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I know my boys enjoyed it when I got to take them out there. So definitely a different perspective when you get to do that. And hopefully your oldest son knows how to cook dinner a little bit, so the 2 of them will be okay.
Yeah. I mean, he's 4.
Yeah.
So it might be a little burnt or a little underdone, but I think he can handle it.
Okay. Have you seen? I know you're not necessarily like big on TikTok, but have you seen these videos? There's just one account where this mom has gone out and like bought a kitchen for their kid, like one of those like IKEA kitchens, and they've modded it out. It's like it actually works. It's a working kitchen. They've taught their like 2 or 3-year-old kid like how to cook. And this kid, they'll do videos of this kid. He'll make eggs and stuff on this like little IKEA kitchen for himself, like start to finish.
Zeke would probably do that if we had a small size kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah, I never would have thought to do something like that for the boys, but I don't think that either of them could handle it at this point. I mean, I'm getting them to make their own sandwiches now, so you know.
Zeke will do like 60% of his sandwiches.
Okay.
He'll do the mustard and the mayo and the bread. And then the cheese, kind of.
Yeah.
But then he won't do the meat.
Okay. See, that's strange. I thought I had that strange. So Logan will not eat mustard. So he'll eat mayonnaise sandwiches. And he'll put the meat on there. No cheese. He will not eat cheese. At least not on sandwiches anyway. So he'll do that. Or like I can get him to he makes these sandwiches there. He makes mayo and jelly sandwiches.
No.
So yeah, we ask him, okay, do you want a Mario sandwich? Do you want a Sonic sandwich? So if he wants a Sonic, it's mayo and like grape jelly. If he wants a Mario, it's mayo and strawberry jelly. But he'll do that. He eats it. He likes it. He says they're really good. I don't know. It's not something I would ever eat, but
have you tried it?
I have not.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do it because my son ate it. That sounds terrible. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. But anyway,
Jerry, aren't you at work?
Yeah, this year.
Get back to work. He messaged me earlier and said, "Oh man, I'll be at work." Otherwise, he was gonna come on. Go to work, Jerry.
All right, there's Jerry. Maybe Harry will pop in. We'll talk to Harry a little bit too if he shows up. And we should get. We got a lot to get to. So let's just get into the show.
Okay, you start the intro for the podcast. I'm gonna give me something to drink since the water was disgusting.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Somos Mas, the official podcast of Somos Mas NM, and your source for the latest news and notes on New Mexico United. My name, of course, is Seth, and joining me in that empty chair right over there is Jacob Terrell. Earl is not with us this week. Earl is out of town traveling, so Earl gets a well-deserved week off. Well-deserved from what I don't really know, because we're not convinced that Earl actually does anything at times. But no, in all seriousness, he's traveling with his wife. They're out, I think, visiting family and stuff. So this is something that Earl's had on the books for a while. So while he's not here, Jacob and I will hold down the show. We do have a lot to get to this evening. Before we get into our show proper, just a little bit of housekeeping. We are still looking for content We are still looking for content creators. If you're interested in writing with us, being on the podcast, doing some social media stuff, we would appreciate you guys dropping us a line on any of our social medias or email addresses. This is not a paid position, just so you guys know. We don't pay anybody. We don't pay ourselves. We don't make anything on this. We do this for love of the club, love of the team, and for love of just doing this, talking with other United fans, talking with other soccer fans. So if you're interested in joining the team, let us know. We'll be happy to get in touch with you and talk to you, see what you want to do. And yeah, we got so much to get to this week. We've got news. We've got United stuff. We've got updates on Dev, a lot to get to. But before we do that, Jacob, I do have one burning question for you. What's a food that you wanted to try and you were really excited to do it, but once you had it, it did not live up to the hype?
In-N-Out.
Really?
It wasn't bad. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a good burger. It's a very good burger. Okay. But all I heard about, you're going back to California, you got to try In-N-Out. You got to eat In-N-Out. It's the best. It's the best. I would rather have Five Guys. And hot take, very hot take, scorching take maybe. I'm probably rather have Sonic. Wow. Now, a lot of people bash on Sonic's food, and I get it. But I have a go-to order at Sonic that has never done me wrong. And so, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because I prefer green chili on my burgers, and that's what I get no matter where I go.
Right.
But keep in mind, this was, I think the last time I had In-N-Out was probably 7 years ago. So we're going to Vegas in less than a month. No, actually in exactly a month. And I will be going to In-N-Out there.
Okay.
For one meal, just because I want to give it another shot. I mean, I would go back anyways. I would go back if it was close and consistent or close and not super busy. I would go back all the time just because it is that good. And it's cheap. It's super cheap. For the quality that you get, it is super cheap. But I ate it and was just like, man, this is good, but it is nowhere near what everybody was saying.
Okay. I've actually never had In-N-Out. I think they have some over in over in Phoenix. I could be Phoenix, Scottsdale. I've been by there. I've never actually eaten there though. And it's something that I'm going to try at some point. But I've never had it. People say it's fantastic. I couldn't tell you one way or the other. And so I guess
it's good and it's worth going.
Okay.
It's just not the best burger ever created and and all that jazz.
Okay. Apparently there's a new chicken place coming to town here that's supposed to be really good too.
Raising Cane's?
Yes. Apparently there's supposed to be one of those coming here. It's supposed to be pretty good. So I'll have to try that once it opens up. But
it is good.
Okay.
It is good. I do like it.
And apparently it's like going right over by like Chick-fil-A and Popeyes or something like that.
Over there off of like Montgomery and
I think that's where it's going. Like, yeah, Montgomery and San Mateo. Yeah. So I guess there was an article talking about it saying it's like gonna be like the chicken wars or something, but who knows? So for me, I honestly, I asked this question because there's something that's been advertised on TV lately, and my son has been asking to try this, and it's the ghost pepper chicken nuggets from Burger King. Have you seen these?
No, okay. But you have my attention.
Okay. I'm a huge fan of spicy food. I love spicy food, especially like spicy nuggets, spicy chicken sandwiches, things like that. And I think Wendy's has the best spicy chicken sandwich I've had. So I thought today, I was like, I'll try these ghost pepper chicken nuggets. So I got an order of those, got them home. There is no heat whatsoever to these things. I'm like, are you kidding me? There's not even a hint of heat to these.
Like the regular spicy nuggets are spicier.
Yes, exactly. And it was just such a giant letdown, for something that they're pushing everywhere.
Hold on real quick. In the comment section. Jerry asked, what? You don't have a Cane's in New Mexico? No, we don't. Oh, apparently we're getting one. But then La Malicion says, best burgers are caveman burgers over on Coors and Central. 100% recommend. And then it seems like Tito switched his account to his personal account just to second the opinion that he already made. I love you, Tito.
That's great, guys. That's great. So I haven't been to Caveman Burgers. I do like Laguna Burger over on the west side. They're pretty good.
Laguna is good.
Yeah. They're like
Laguna. So I think the problem that I did with In-N-Out was like, I assumed it was going to be like a burger joint, but like elevated just a little bit. And it's really not. It's like, you can't really compare it to Five Guys, in my opinion, because it's not like that expensive of a place, or like they don't have like all these toppings you can put on it like Five Guys does. It's definitely like, here's a burger, lettuce and tomato, but everything's fresh and it's gonna be good.
Okay.
Tito, you're my hero though. That was the best.
I'll have to get out there and try it one of these days. I mean, there are so many places that I want to try. Like, I think what was it called? Grass Burger. That was a pretty good hamburger. That was pretty good too. So, I mean, it's strange. Like, we have some pretty damn good burger places here in town, but like, honestly, like, I feel some of the biggest letdowns are actual like Mexican food, which is really strange to me.
Well, that's because there's different there's different kinds of Mexican food. There's Mexican food. There's Southern New Mexico food. There's Northern New Mexico food. There's like a mix of Southern and Northern New Mexico food. Like, I cannot get quality red or green chili down here.
Really?
It's enchilada sauce. And I take that back. I can get a decent chopped green chili. I can get a good chopped green chili. But as far as like a green chili sauce or a red chili sauce or it like there's a place here called Sadie's, no affiliation to the Sadie's in Albuquerque. And I got their enchiladas one day and was like, oh yeah, this can be great. It was just green enchilada sauce and was super disappointing. I was like, you guys were in New Mexico, right? We have this thing called Hatch green chili.
Yeah.
And you can make a sauce out of it pretty easy and then put it on this and we're good to go. But no.
That's something I need to learn how to do is make like a good green chili sauce. But my boys aren't real big on spicy food. So I have to kind of like temper it to when they're not here. So.
I'm the same way because Allie will a little bit, but she doesn't like it as spicy as I do.
Yeah.
She doesn't really like it spicy at all. She likes the flavor of green chili. So I typically only eat, there's a Santa Fe Olay, makes a chopped green chili in a jar. I just get that because it's good. It's like 75-80% of like if I were to take chopped green chili or roasted green chili and chop it and stuff myself, it's like 80% of that, and it's easier and it doesn't go bad for a while. So
okay, that brings up a question that I don't think we've ever talked about it. And Tito, if you're still in the chat, I'd love to get your take on this. When I first moved out here, I didn't know what green chili was. I ordered a burger down at Blake's. They're like, "Do you want green chili on that?" It's like, Shh, okay. What? Or do you want chili on that? I said, "Sure, whatever. I'll take chili on my burger." And there's a big pile of green goop on the burger. It's like, all right, I don't know what this is. Tasted pretty good. I enjoyed it, and so I started getting chili on whatever I could. Where has the worst green chili, green or red chili that you've had here?
In Albuquerque?
Just, I would say, I mean, outside of Colorado, where's the worst chili that you've had?
Like if it's, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever had bad chili. Like nothing really sticks out as this is not good.
Okay.
Unless it's like enchilada sauce, that's not really chili. But like if you give me a chopped green chili, it's probably going to be good. I take that back. Oh, where was it? There was a place that I got green chili on a cheeseburger, and there was no heat, no flavor. It was like bell peppers, essentially.
All right. Tito, Caveman has a Mexican style burger with carne asada, ham, cheese, bacon, pineapple, and basically. Okay, I'm done. See ya. We're ending the show right now. I'm gonna go over to Caveman. Gonna get a burger. You know, let's get out of here. Go get some food. I have to say the worst green chili I've had since I moved out here has been at Bob's. Like I cannot stand the chili at Bob's. It's so overpowering. There's no taste to it.
I don't know that I've ever got a green chili cheeseburger from Bob's.
No.
You know what my go-to at Bob's is the chicken quesadillas with the red sauce.
Really? Okay.
Delicious with a side of fries. Oh, it's good.
Welcome to the Foodcast. Another preview of a show we're going to do this off season.
Yeah. Monday bees, Tuesday wrestling, Wednesday food, Thursday wild card. You never know. You've got to tune in. Could be anything.
Yes, it's going to be a fantastic off season, folks. We can't wait for that to happen whenever it does get here. But as we do get into the meat and potatoes of our show, we do have some updates for you guys this week. Here you go, Tito. I'm green over red all day, any day.
Black Diamond's in the chat.
Hey, Black Diamonds. Chris, how you doing, man? Glad to have you with us here tonight. Southerners like flavor. Hell yes, we do. Give us some salt. Give us some butter. We're good to go, man. Throw some bacon in it. Makes it even better. There you go. That's what you got to do, man. I was reading this.
I needed you to reach your level of accent when you say stupid. I needed you to reach that in that comment, and you didn't quite get there for me.
Didn't quite get there. All right.
No.
Well, how about this? We need some salt, need some bacon, need some butter in it. Shit.
Butter. Yeah, there
Butter.
you go.
Get some
There you
butter.
go.
Some
Get
butter.
some
In
butter
it.
in
Yeah.
there.
Get
There
some
you go.
grits, some biscuits. There you go. That's what you got to do, man.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm actually going to Georgia here in a few weeks.
Yeah, you told me.
And man, I can't wait. Go home, see my folks, get some home cooked food. I cannot wait, man. I cannot wait for that. We're trying to convince my grandparents to not go to Cracker Barrel for Thanksgiving. Because that's what they've been doing the past few years.
Dude, I'm down to go to Cracker Barrel for Thanksgiving, man.
I will gladly go to Cracker Barrel any day of the week. I'll go to Waffle House for Thanksgiving. I don't care, man. But yeah, no, we're trying to convince my grandparents to not go because they don't know I'm coming.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I haven't seen my grandparents in forever. So, sweet grits. There you go. Yeah, sweet grits are fantastic, man. Throw some butter, some grits, some salt in there. It's fantastic, man. Throw some cheese on top. And if you get real fancy, put some shrimp in there, some shrimp and grits.
I don't think that's sweet.
No, but Bob's Burgers chili is great too. See, we were just discussing that. I'm not a huge fan of their chili, but more power to you, Tito, if that's what you like.
Maybe you just caught it. Maybe you just caught it on a bad day, Seth.
Maybe, but it's been at multiple locations. So
never
I don't know. Like I had it happen at both Los Lunas and Isleta, Rio Bravo and Isleta. So both locations, like the heat of the chili is just overpowering. Now I like heat. I love heat, but I need some flavor to my chili too. So, but anyway, yeah, we do have news. We got some stuff to get to. First thing
you think if we ignore the United talk long enough, Jerry will go away before we start it?
Jerry just might drop out before we get to it. He just might, but he's been quiet for a few minutes, so maybe he's already gone. Maybe his boss came and said something to him. Who knows? But
I should find out where he works and call his boss and be like, "Hey, this guy is on the internet right now."
There you go. Take a trip to Frank's. What is it? You talk about Frank's chicken and waffles over on San Mateo? Is that what you're talking about there, Chris?
I'm down.
Let's do it. Down. Frank's. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do an on location podcast on that. That's what we'll do. And we might have to record it and then upload it later, but we will definitely do that. But yeah, United news came down. So we did the show Thursday night last week. And we talked about Armando Moreno torn ACL. We knew he was going to be out. We knew that Dev was going to be out for the rest of the season. We found out on Friday what the issue was with Dev. They found 2 arterial blood clots in his heart. Over the past couple weeks, he'd been experiencing some tightness in his chest, some pressure, and they made the decision to go have him checked out. They were able to remove one of the clots, and doctors put him on blood thinners from a video that Dev put out on Friday. So we know what's going on with Dev now. We know what's going on with Armando, and we were discussing in our group text what this means for Dev, and we know it's going to be out at least for the rest of the season. Now, I would assume being on blood thinners, there's the possibility that he could come back if they're able to alleviate that second clot and then get things under control so it's not a recurring issue. But with a situation like this, if they can't get it under control, or even if he does stay on blood thinners, we don't know what the future holds for Dev. And my prediction was that there's a very real chance that this could lead him to retire. Jacob, I don't know how you feel about this. I think it would be a loss if he did, but I think it just compounds the issues that we talked about last week.
Yeah, I think it depends on if it's like a clotting issue. So like that of like a Chris Bosch here a while back or something like that, or if it was just this one time thing and nothing else pops up over the off season, I could see him coming back as long as that's the case. But if it's a reoccurring issue that just doesn't go away and clots keep showing up, and he's got to get more and more procedures done, then yeah, I think it would probably be in his and his very young family's best interest for him to go ahead and hang him up for now. But either way, I'm happy that he's a part of this club and he's going to continue to be part of the club, even if his days actually on the pitch are over. He won't up and leave. More than likely, he seems here for the long haul. We've joked around about him having a lifetime contract as a player, anyways. So, yeah, it sucks. And you look at the injury report last match, and we had Moreno, who's out for the year, Debs, who's out for the year, Harry, who's out for the year, Hamilton, who might come back, is what the last I had heard, but that's been a while, so I don't know. I haven't had any updates. We saw him about a month ago. He wasn't in a boot and was walking pretty good, so you don't know there. And then Najim's out as like a day-to-day type thing with a lower body injury. So we were just super devastated there on that front. And then you add in Guzman and Suggs out on suspension, and it just couldn't have gotten worse from a players not being able to play standpoint.
So I did actually have a question about Josh, and I was over in the subreddit during the match on Saturday night, and I made mention that I had gone back through and I researched Josh's yellow cards for the season because it was mentioned a couple times, and in the USL pre-match that Josh was on a disciplinary accumulation warning. Well, I went back and I looked through and I saw that Josh did in fact have 8 yellow cards over the course of the season, but he'd also played enough matches and had enough stretches of 5 matches where he played and did not get carded that 2 cards should have fallen off under the good behavior incentive. Now, over in the subreddit, people said that he was listed on the subs, but on the USL Championship website, he wasn't listed on there anywhere. So I was really confused by that on Saturday night. Now, I didn't see him on the bench. I could have just missed it, but he did not play if he was there. And yeah, Saturday night, we were down so many people, and you look at all those season-ending injuries. And at this point, I don't expect Sam to come back. I think at this point, it's just okay, we're just going to shut him down for the season and try to bring him back.
I could see them bringing him back if we make the playoffs and he's good to go. If I saw that. I'm ignoring that comment.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
No, we're not. I'm going to ignore it.
Okay.
We can talk about it. We're just not going to address his comment. I could see him coming back if we make the postseason and he's ready, fully ready. I could see it being a boost for the team and maybe kind of rally around him for that Phoenix game, having him come back. But other than that, no. If he's not ready, then if he's not 100% ready, then you can't bring him back. You can't risk it. If he played striker, I would be like, no, he needs to be back. But it was so desperate Saturday that we had Touche in there as a center forward. Last I checked, I'm sure he probably played some center forward, especially like in high school, when when you're the best player on the team, you kind of do whatever you want, and I'm sure he played some there. But we did not sign him as a center forward. We signed him as a center back, and so when you're having to pull off Illich and put in Touche with like 25 minutes remaining, not a great sign.
Tyler Matzik is a god.
Let me tell you about Tyler Matzik real quick, okay? I was sitting there watching the game the other night, and I was like, Tyler Matzik, why does that name sound familiar? Wait a minute. Looked it up. He was drafted 11th overall by the Rockies.
Yes, he was.
And then to be fair, he did not perform for us at all, really. Just was not good. And then I turn on the NLCS, and he's just freaking lights out incredible. And I'm like, where was this? Why couldn't we have this?
So do you know his backstory, right?
Yeah, he left and then came back.
Yeah.
And was an electrician. He was basically he was out of the game for 5 years with anxiety issues. And so come back, and he's faced 17 batters with runners in scoring position in the playoffs this year. He struck out 11 of them.
And they're 0 for 17 against him with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, the dude's been insane.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
There you go. Comment from Chris here. Touche played end to end with the soul, actually really good on the attacking side. So, yeah, good to know. And Jerry says, don't be salty. So, yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, Jerry. If you were a fan of this team and you watched the game Saturday, and then you had some little pest in the comment section, you would be salty too.
So yeah, we don't know what's going to happen with Dev and Moreno. We don't know if we're going to see Sam back for the end of the year. I don't think we will. I'm hoping we get Najim back for Saturday. I think he would be good to have. And as good as Ilya has been the last 2 matches, well, I would say 2 of the last 3 matches, we got to have someone else in there, and I know we have Christian Nava, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit, but, the front office has some work to do this offseason, no matter what the case is.
I'm assuming you're saying 2 of the last 3 because he wasn't good Saturday.
Yeah.
I thought he played fine Saturday. The whole team just couldn't get the ball forward. It was a center forward is only as good as everybody around him. If he can't get service, then yeah, he's not going to look good. And I don't feel like he had a bad touch or a bad turnover or anything like that. Like I don't think you can look at anything he did and go, oh man, he was the problem. I feel like everybody was the problem.
Yeah. No, and we'll get into that here in just a few minutes. And next bit of news comes from the USL. The USL Championship and USLPA have ratified the CBA. And apparently it was a super majority of the players that voted for this. And so history has been made by the league. And, this is a huge step going forward. We knew that this was coming, and it actually the news got leaked yesterday, but good to see that the league and the Players Association both did ratify this. And I think it's, again, a huge step going forward for both sides.
Agreed. I didn't look into it super, super deep, but I hope we can do a real deep dive into it this summer and really learn more about what's going on in the league behind the scenes, because to be completely honest, we don't know a whole lot.
Chris has a comment here in the chat. It will be a surprise if Troy pulled Brown back. Not likely, but I'd love to surprise us. Well, we actually talked about this on the show last week, about the possibility of Brown being recalled from his loan out to Oakland. I don't think they can, since it's past the roster freeze date. Now, we see stuff happen from time to time. We've seen emergency keeper loans and things like that. So while I don't think it's that type of situation, I don't think that they can recall him at this point. And even if they could, I don't think Oakland would just let it go. So I don't know.
I don't think they would try. Brown just obviously did not fit with the team. I mean, I called it weeks before they actually transferred him, because he kept not showing up on the 18, but wasn't on the injury report. And something was just fishy and off about it. And I mean, desperate times call for desperate measures. So it's a possibility, I guess, but I just don't see it happening, because I don't know how much good it would do, because they obviously weren't on the same page on the pitch either. So yeah, even if we had the ability to recall him from the loan at this point in the season, I don't think they would. I mean, like you said, they weren't clicking. He wasn't fitting well with the system and with the players around him. And I think it would just cause more discord than it would anything else at this point, than to just go forward with who we have. So food for thought on that. And the other big piece of news, I don't know if you caught this today, but apparently Austin Bold FC have informed players and staff that they will not be continuing in 2022 ahead of a move to potentially Fort Worth, which is still pending based on construction of a new stadium. So Austin Bold, we knew ye well. We wish you all the best of luck in the future, and continued losses to the rest of the Western Conference in your future. I just don't. Well, I don't think they can catch us. I think
No,
I think they're done. They're
yeah.
done. It's just us and RGV. But it's sad because I don't think I think they might have had something had Austin FC not sprouted up across town, because I don't know. I just liked what they had going over there, and I wish there was enough soccer fans in Austin to make both of those clubs work. But hopefully they can pop up somewhere, or those players can find success in different areas.
Yeah, I think we all saw this coming from afar when Austin FC was announced. And you look at the rest of the USL, you have similar situations with Miami FC and the Miami FC, and then Charlotte and Charlotte Independence.
It's Inter Miami.
Inter Miami, whatever. Inter Miami, after they get sued by Inter Milan. So, they may not even be Inter Miami at some point. So, I mean, do we see similar situations with Charlotte and the Miami? Do we see those clubs potentially folding with the introduction of MLS clubs?
Isn't Charlotte already like guaranteed? Oh no, that was St. Louis last.
Yeah, that's St. Louis. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. It'll be tough to sustain two major clubs like that it'd be tough for a lower level, quote unquote, lower level club to succeed when there's a MLS club there too, just because people want to go to the big, like, it's why AAA teams aren't in MLB cities, because it doesn't work. They just don't get the fans that they need to survive in those situations. So I don't know. Hopefully, when we talked about the USL as a whole here a while back, and I kind of think that it's gonna trickle down to about 30 clubs in the USL Championship, and then probably get to 20 in League One, and then Pro Rel from there. I think is the dream scenario for the league.
Yeah, a lot of things up in the air. We do know of 5 other clubs coming into the USL Championship over the next couple of years. We know the MLS clubs are moving out. There's going to be a lot of change over the next couple of years in the USL Championship. Once things settle, I think we're going to see a very stable, we already have a stable league, but I think once MLS's hands are out of the cookie jar, I think the USL can really grow and attract additional markets and bring in some really quality ownership groups and clubs, and the USL is just going to continue to grow in popularity over the next few years. Speaking of USL and the USL Championship, and the Astros just fumbled. Oh my word! That's a 2-base error there by Stanek. Holy crap! I apologize.
You're ahead of me, apparently. Because
what the heck was that pitcher trying to do there?
I don't know. You're ahead of me. I'll tell you when I see it.
Okay. But the stadium bond discussion continues across the metro area, and there was an article that came out the other day talking about how there was an error on the bond wording itself on the ballot. Now, on the ballot, it has it listed as a general obligation bond, when it is in fact a gross revenue tax bond, and legally apparently there is no issue with this, but apparently some people are saying that the club has been trying to mislead people. But really, what in fact happened is that this election is being run by Bernalillo County officials, and they did not have a template for this type of bond apparently when they printed out the ballot or created the ballot, and so even the Bernalillo County official said, hey, we're not placing the blame on anyone. We didn't have a template for this. And so there is no actual issue here, apparently. But do you think that the club has gone out of its way to try to mislead people, as some outlets are stating?
Really?
I gotta ask because it is a discussion. I think it's worth at least a mention to show just how biased the local media outlets are.
Well, yeah, you can ask me about that, but obviously they're not going out of their way. They're not misleading people at all. Like what's happened with these local elections is that it used to be every city, village, whatever had their elections in March. And then here sometime in the last 3 or 4 years, they basically said, okay, well, you guys can do that still, or you can opt into moving it to November, and you can just lump it in with the county, and the county can do everything. And otherwise, you're going to have your own everything, your own ballot machines and this and that and the other. And so I imagine Bernalillo County, this is probably one of the first times that they've had to do kind of stuff like this, and that led to the mistyping or however you want to put it. And so, no, it's people are so dumb.
Yes, they are. We can agree. And I did bring this topic up for another reason too. Jerry, since you're in the chat, I did want to ask you, New Mexico United and El Paso both came into league at the same time. We're obviously going through the stadium bond issue right now, and El Paso is in a similar position where they are sharing a baseball stadium with a minor league baseball club. Is there a push within the El Paso community and around the club to get them a stadium? And what is the discussion going on there? Or is the club staying at Southwest University Park? So take your time, Jerry, because I would be interested to know this, because we know that the USL Championship bylaws say that clubs have to at least have a plan in place within 3 years. So would be interesting, because I tried looking online today. I couldn't find anything about this discussion for El Paso. So Jerry, like serious talk, wanted to get your take on this. Where are they at? Where are they at? He missed him.
Chris in the chat asked Jerry if the owners were the same for, I'm assuming for the Chihuahuas. Is it still the Chihuahuas?
Yeah.
The Chihuahuas and El Paso Locomotives. So I don't know the answer there. So I do hope that Jerry can inform us instead of just talking smack and be useful for once.
So yeah, no, it really is a serious discussion, because I've seen it brought up over on Reddit, people talking about El Paso and how they're still in the stadium and this, that, and the other. And so, like I said, I tried to research it today. I didn't see anything other than a few like op-eds where they said that the Locomotive should get their own stadium. So I would love to see Jerry's take on this and see if there's been anything put out there about Locomotive trying to get their own stadium, or how the ownership group is handling the USL requirements for a soccer specific stadium.
Why are they showing this replay 1,000 times when it's clear by a mile that he missed him, but yet they had to check it for whatever reason? Baseball's dumb. I freaking hate it.
Because MLB doesn't want the Braves to win. That's what it is.
I don't think they want the Astros to win either.
Well, I mean, the Astros did cheat, but yeah. So there's actually there's this Twitter account. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called it's like at Ump Scorecards, and they like score the refs, and they show like how the decisions made by the umpires affected the game in terms of runs for each team. And throughout the entire series with the Dodgers, every single umpire scorecard from this website was in favor of the Dodgers. There were decisions were adding potential runs to the Dodgers score.
And it's still
lost. So anyway, all right. Jerry here says owned by the same guy, but the owner is married to the owner of FC Juarez. Okay. And then no talks about a stadium yet. I find that very interesting. Because I don't know how they're going to handle it. I mean, obviously, even if the bond passes, United will be at Isotopes Park for at least another year. So I don't know. I don't know how this affects things. I don't know.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that with COVID last year, those of us that came in at the same time, I think there were 7 of us. In fact, Austin was one of them. It was us and Austin and Austin, El Paso, Birmingham.
I'd have to look it up. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head.
I can't think of it either. Anyways, there were. I'm almost positive there were 7 of us, and it maybe the 3-year thing is getting extended a little bit because of the pandemic, and nobody has actually said that, so I don't know for sure. And maybe United is just pushing forward with it because they really want to get the ball rolling, and they feel like they have a chance to do it now. But who knows? So maybe if this is a no in November, it can come back up at a later date and at a different election. Somebody was saying that they didn't even need to take it to election, that they could have just done it in some way, shape, or form. But
yes, so the gross revenue tax bonds actually do not need voter approval. So technically, the city and United could have just gone ahead and moved forward with it, but they decided to put it on the ballot to let the voters decide whether or not they approve of it. And I mean, there's still people saying, "Oh, well, that money can just go to other stuff." And okay, again, folks, like trying to explain like how these bonds work, and then how the money, if it doesn't pass, how it gets reallocated and how it affects taxes. And the thing is, like, what a lot of people don't realize is the gross revenue tax doesn't affect you or me.
Yeah.
At least not directly. It's business owners. It's Walmart, local businesses. Those are the ones that pay that pay gross revenue taxes. It's not you and me as individuals. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, I'm sure it trickles down some way in terms of pricing or whatever on the goods and or services, but people just don't understand it.
Yeah.
And
speaking of not understanding things, Jerry says, what I see is they want to make El Paso a championship team before making a stadium. That's all fine and dandy. Bylaws are bylaws. It doesn't matter if you win a championship or not. You have to have a financial plan in the stadium or for a stadium within 3 years of coming into the USL, period. Now, that may be 4 years or 5 years now because of the pandemic, but bottom line, you have to have a stadium plan at the very least in 3 years or less, according to what we have read in the USL bylaws. So obviously we would want to win a championship before the stadium, but that's not always possible. And you haven't done it either. So shut your mouth.
Chris says in election years, it has to go to a vote. Outside election year, they could have just done it. Have to read more why. So, I mean, there you go. Yeah. So, it's all still to be decided. We don't know what's going to happen yet. Get out and vote. Vote pro stadium. You can vote for the stadium. You can vote for schools. You can vote for roads. You can vote for homeless shelters. I'm in the process of getting some data together to show just how much money we've approved over the past, decade or so in terms of funding for all these different programs that people say that we're not funding or that we can't fund. So there's going to be some information coming, folks, either on Reddit or Facebook or Twitter or something, but we can fund the stadium. We can fund other stuff. The stadium doesn't stop anything else. And so anyway, get out, vote, vote for the stadium, man. Vote for something that's good for our community, good for the city. And, it's going to be a good thing, guys. It really is. And there's just some of the stuff that's out there like, I saw someone trying to argue with me that United is trying to hurt homeless people. No, United is not trying to hurt homeless people. Yes, that was a comment that was made to me on Twitter. Like, no, United is not trying to hurt homeless people. Like, come on, folks. Like, be realistic. It costs the city more every year to give Netflix their tax credits than it would to build this stadium. We're voting on $600 million of funding for APS over the next 6 years on this ballot. One of those means is actually going to, in fact, raise your taxes. So, whatever. Go out. I speak for myself. I say I supported every single one of the bonds that was on the ballot this year. We can vote for all of them. I voted for the Tax Act because APS needs help. Although APS is probably beyond help, no matter how much funding we give them. So, anyway, let's move on from this. It's going to get me all riled up, and we don't want that tonight, at least not yet anyway. But we have to talk about it. We have to talk about Saturday night down at HEB Park. New Mexico United did go down, and they lost to RGV by a final of 2-0. And going into it, we were all fairly positive that we would walk away with a win, and I don't think we had any reason to think otherwise. I mean, RGV had not been playing well of late. They hadn't been at their best form. They really haven't been for quite some time. And so coming off of two solid performances against San Diego and San Antonio, I don't think we were outside of the realm of possibility and thinking that we could go down there and win.
You know what I failed to think about? I failed to think about the fact that we are terrible on the road. Despite the draw in San Diego, that was because of a last-second goal. Otherwise, it would have been a loss. Now, I don't think we didn't play near as bad in that game as we did Saturday, but I didn't think about it being on the road and us just with our terrible road record this year. And then I hear Armando's out. I hear Dev's out. We thought Guzman was going to be out, but we weren't sure about Suggs. Turns out when you have 7 of your 22 guys hurt or out for suspension, probably going to hurt you just a little bit. And actually, I think it's 20 guys, or 21, something like that. No, because we made acquisitions. Never mind. 22 because of the Weehan and Najim additions. But so yeah, when you're missing 7 of your 22, it probably isn't going to go as smoothly as you think it is on the road. So maybe I should have saw it coming. It still didn't stop me from screaming at my TV multiple times, specifically in the second half when we were already down, and instead of attacking, they were just kicking the ball back and forth between the back line and the midfielders, and I was screaming at them to go forward. Not the first time this year. Hopefully the last time, because hopefully we can actually attack in this last game, make the playoffs, and then see what happens against Phoenix. But my Lord, man, it just it was a frustrating game.
It was, and I think there was some optimism going into it because we saw how well we played against San Antonio. And that match, we knew we didn't have Dev. We knew we didn't have Armando. And I think it's not even, I don't even think it's arguably. I think San Antonio is hands down a better team than RGV. And after that performance, I was feeling pretty good about our chances going into it. Ilya had looked pretty good. Bees was absolutely on fire. And I felt like we had some momentum for us. And even knowing we were already without Dev and Armando. Sam, Harry, we've known they're going to be out anyway. So I haven't even thought about them as being an issue at that point. But then popped up that Naj was hurt. And then I don't know. I still can't figure out why Josh Suggs was listed as suspended, even though he should have had 2 yellow cards dropped due to good behavior. And I still haven't gotten an answer from USL Championship about that.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. I don't know if I was tweeting at Nicholas J. Murray the other day, and so we did set a record Wednesday night last week. Yellow cards. We talked about that, and but even with that, Guzman we knew was going to be suspended. Fine, whatever. We would have preferred to not have Guzman in there anyway. because we have the ability of guys like Salih and
I don't know.
Michael
He was Earl's man of the match.
That is true, but it's just one of those things where, and USL Tactics over on Twitter talked about a little bit. We played well defensively for a while. We were preventing RGV from getting the final shot, getting that final attempt off, and we looked pretty good defensively from a fair amount of the match. But going forward, we just didn't have anything, and we got a question in the chat: are we still playing up down to the opponent? I say we are.
I don't think that's what it was Saturday. What it was Saturday was just a lack of passion and a possible lack of energy for whatever reason. But maybe that's, I don't know. It depends on what your definition of playing up or down to. I think it's obvious. I think if you ask any professional athlete, they get up for the games against, like, they just have more energy for the Phoenixes or the El Pasos or the Loose Cities, or like in basketball when the Warriors were on their streak, like they had a target on their back, and everybody, even the Orlando Magic, when they came to town, were gunning for them. So if you look at it that way, yeah, we're going to have more energy when we go to play the better teams like San Antonio at home than we are RGV in RGV. But I don't know. I really just don't want to talk about it because it was so infuriating.
It might also have to do with the fact that it was our third match within 7 days. That's something that's of concern too. And I think the scheduling, especially here at the end of the season, has been terrible. Like, I really think it has. And I think that's, hopefully we don't have this issue next season. We'll get back to a full 34 match schedule. We won't have these backloaded schedules, all these weeks where you have three matches in 7 days. And it's just one of those things where, like, you're coming down the last week of the season. Do you, like, why not? Why do 3 in 7 days? Why not do like Wednesday, Saturday instead of Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, which I think was just terrible scheduling by the league. Troy seemed hyped for the outing, said the guys were too. It's getting hard to know what's what. I think it goes to what you just said. Like, the guys get up for the matches, but the product on the pitch doesn't seem to match that. So, we can sit here and watch, and tactically we played well for a while, but we didn't. I mean, we had 4 shots. I think that's probably our worst offensive match in quite a while. 4 shots, 1 on target, and I wrote in my recap the other day. I said, we lacked creativity, we lacked energy, we looked flat going forward. And again, I mean, there's a lot of things that could go into that. Obviously injuries, playing on three matches in 7 days. There's a lot to look at when we try to break down what exactly went wrong for United. And it's just, I don't know, man. Like, we've talked about it all season long, and we have times where it looks good, where things look good. We look like we're on a roll, and it looks like we're building momentum. And defensively, I think we are. Defensively, I think we are building momentum. We've had a very good defensive season. I mean, have we given up more goals than we would have liked? Yes. But we're still near the bottom of the league at least I have to double check the stats after this past weekend, but we're in the bottom half of the league in goals allowed. We're in the top half of the league in clean sheets. And so, it's hard to pinpoint where the production issues are coming from.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's been 31 games now, basically, where for the most part we've been having the same conversation about the offense and how it just isn't near what we expected it to be. We looked at last year and we were like, man, the offense is hurting. We need a little bit better production there, blah, 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 blah. And then they go out and they sign Illich, they sign Brown, they sign Harry, they sign Isidro, they sign Rivas, you're just like, oh man, this offense is going to be so much better. And then shut out in the first game. One or two goals in the second game against El Paso. I think it might have just been one. One goal against El Paso. And then we did have 2-3 goal matches. And you're like, oh, okay, there it is. Here we go. And then it just never really showed up. It just, I don't know. I'm still scratching my head. I feel like the people are there. I feel like we should be a better offensive team than we are, and it just doesn't happen. And I think that kind of leads to some of the goals that we've given up. Because at this point in the season, the defense has to know the offense isn't what it should be. And so there's extra pressure on the defense to, hey, you can't give up anything, because the offense might score one goal, maybe score two, and then you're pretty much it. So if you give up 2 goals, other than the San Antonio game, I can't think of another game where we gave up 2 goals and got results, let alone a win. It puts so much pressure on them, and then one little mistake happens, and the whole team hangs their head. After that first goal, I mean, even though it happened early in the second half, you think, okay, it's okay. There's still a lot of time. And it just never looked like they even tried to get back into it. Like, it's crazy to me that in a game that if you win, you guarantee a playoff spot, they score first, and then they have the better chances after that first goal all the way through the second half. Like, there wasn't even a flurry in there. Like, not even like a 5-minute stretch where you could say, oh, we really turned it on there. So I don't know, man. It was really, really annoying.
Jerry, don't worry. We are going to get to your comment here in just a little bit. Another comment from Chris. Troy is the gaffer. This system is based upon his experiences, trying to finally age like wine, but it seems like we're still a ways away. I mean,
we're 3 years in with Troy, though.
We have transitioned the system, though. The system has transitioned over, I'd say, this season and the better part of last season. And I think what we have now works, but I don't necessarily think we have the right personnel for it, which is why, after seeing the way things played out this season, you mentioned already why Brian Brown wasn't quite fitting. And we brought him in, didn't quite fit the system. That's how we brought back Bees, brought back Sully, guys who know how to play, and they played under a similar play style back in the first season, but they understand what Troy wants each role within his system to do. We may be running a slightly different formation than what we did in 2019, but I think that's more refined in what Troy expects from each role. And so there have definitely been times where it feels like we're not even close to what it's supposed to play like. But then there are others where, we go through stretches this year, particularly on the defensive side, where we look great multiple matches in a row. And you can see the progression of the system, of the player's knowledge, and how well things are starting to click. And then that builds out from there, and how things change throughout the rest of the system. And so there are times where you look at it and say, okay, that looks really good. They're adapting, they're transforming, they're understanding better about where they're supposed to be, what runs they're looking for, what areas they should be playing the ball into. But then there are others like Saturday night where it's just dead. There's just no creativity. And there's just no, and I made a comment. I was like, I have seen no sense of urgency whatsoever. And I didn't see any sense of urgency at all.
And what's annoying about that is that I have seen that multiple times this year. So it's one thing for it to be one game here, one game there. There's been like that 7-game stretch where we didn't win. That was like that. It was like that whole game, that whole stretch. It was like, you guys just don't want it. Like, you guys come in here and come to the press conferences and you talk about wanting it and you talk about how much it hurts, but that doesn't match what I saw on the pitch. And that's a problem.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a lack of passion from the guys. I don't think it's lack of desire from the guys. I think it's just you come out and you just don't have it some nights. And unfortunately in a league like this, you can't have off nights. You can't, you pulled the Golden State Warriors as a reference earlier. You can't sit Steph. You can't sit those guys for a night when you're playing down to a lower ranked club and be like, okay, it's fine, whatever. If we lose, we lose because it's a 72 game season, or, and baseball, it's 172 or 162 game season. Like, we're okay, starting some guys, giving some guys a day off, And this year with the schedule and the way things shook out, you can't do that. Not without more depth in the club. And I don't think it's desire or lack thereof. I just think there are just some days where they just didn't have it.
So what do we see Saturday?
Oh, Saturday, final match of the regular season. Real Monarchs come into town. Is, of course, the final meeting between these two clubs this season. New Mexico United, they come into it. A win all but guarantees them a spot. Now, I say that with the caveat that they still need help. If RGV drops points in either match this week, either their midweek tomorrow night or their Saturday night match, United with a win on Saturday goes to the playoffs. Because a win puts United on 46, and if RGV does not win out, then they're done. Their season's done. If at this point RGV wins out, even if United wins on Saturday, then RGV gets that final playoff spot. A win for United, it doesn't matter what Austin Bold does. A draw for United, it doesn't matter what Austin Bold does. But United has to win to give themselves the best possible shot.
Well, so let me ask you a question here, because my head went through all the scenarios, and there is a scenario where there is a 3-way tie. What happens in the case of a 3-way tie?
You go for the tiebreakers. Now, the odds of
the first tiebreaker was head-to-head results, right?
Head-to-head points, yeah.
So we beat Austin.
And we lose RGV.
RGV beat us. Austin beat RGV. So all three of those cancel each other out. So
then it's goal differential.
Goal differential in the games.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. One cancels one cancels the other, one cancels the other. So then you go to points in the division, I guess. And I did not dig that deep into it the other night, but it could get complicated if that's the case. Now, the chances of it happening, not super likely. It would need RGV to win and draw. It would need Austin to win, and it would need us to draw. So a lot of things have to go that way for it to happen, but it's not out of the realm of possibility by any means.
Yeah, I think that's by far the most unlikely of scenarios. But yeah, like I said, the easiest path for United is to win and then RGV to drop points at some point this week. That's the easiest path. And yeah, it does get a little bit muddled. And yeah, like you said, it would be a draw for us, a win for Bold, and then a win and a loss for Toros. Like, it's just absurd. Yeah. But yeah, I'd have to dig into it and see where exactly the tiebreakers would end up. But I just, I look at the season against Real Monarchs. We had, let me make sure I've got my information here correct. We beat them the first match out in Sandy, Utah. Second match out, which was just a couple weeks later, we lost 3-2 in a very weird match. Some weird goals being scored that night. We saw the ball do some funny things off the turf. And then the last time we faced them, we did beat them 2-1 here in Albuquerque. That was back on September 18th. Amando Moreno and Chris Wehan both had goals in that match. And Charlie Wehan scored that night as well. And looking at it, Monarchs, of course, are sitting among the bottom of the bottom in the USL Championship this season. Double checking to see where they are at in the Wooden Spoon standings. I think it's going to go to Loudoun.
I think Jerry just had a stroke. Are you okay, Jerry? Let me know.
So yeah, Loudoun currently sits on 15 points. They have 2 matches left, so they could finish with a maximum of 21.
And you know what sucks about that? What's crazy about that? Loudoun is going to be the worst team in the league. They handed us our only loss at home, and that's just that one just comes back. I understand that there were excuses that we could make there, but it still comes back and bites me in the ass that, you know, if we can take care of business at home against Loudoun in a season that we have a fantastic record at home, at least wins to loss wise, I don't understand.
Yeah, so Monarchs cannot win the Wooden Spoon. It looks like it's going to be a race between Loudoun, SKC2, and Las Vegas to see who gets the Wooden Spoon. So, but all of the clubs do still have at least 1 or 2 matches remaining. You know, looking at it, and Jerry's got a great comment here, and we'll talk about his prediction here in just a second, as well as our playoff hopes that he asked about earlier. Real has nothing to win, and New Mexico has everything to lose. So, I saw a similar comment the other day. Real has nothing to lose at all by playing however they want. There was a quote that came out, I think it was from one of the coaches that they played against, that said they have the freedom to do whatever they want. They can try whatever they want. They can put out whoever they want. And, you know, they honestly have been playing pretty well their last couple of matches. Let me see. 2 wins and a draw in their last 3. They picked up a draw against Colorado Springs, a 4-3 win over Austin Bold, then a 1-1 draw against Colorado Springs. And so I think we win Saturday night, but I think we see a Real Monarchs club come out and gives us some trouble. I think they do. Particularly, you know, through the midfield. I think that they can cause some issues there. And so looking to see what happens on Saturday, like, I think it ends up being like 2-0, but I think Real has better possession. I think they get some better looks. I just think we end up playing a better all-around match than they do. And apparently the ticket situation is looking pretty dang full for Saturday night. So
good.
Yeah. It's gonna be tough. Like, it really is. And another comment here in the chat. I'm guessing this should we see Christian Nava in the match? Seems like his age of talent. The Monarchs youth are studs. I would love to see Christian Nava. I would love to see him. You know, I felt like he should have come on a lot earlier on Saturday night. I think he might have been able to provide some sort of spark. I think maybe we run 2 up top with Illich and Nava up there. I think that could work. I think it could.
Yeah, I mean, fuck it. Give Nava the start. Yeah, I mean, you threw Nava in your starting lineup like a month into the season, and I think now might be the time. Just do it and see what happens.
I don't regret that at all.
Because at this point, what do we have? Like, obviously, we can miss out on the playoffs, but if we can't find something that clicks in this game, then we scratch out a win against Real Monarchs and we get our ass handed to us by Phoenix. Like, try something that could work, because chances are we're going to scratch out a win somehow. Anyways, Braves just won.
Yes, they did. Game 1 of the World Series, breaking news. Atlanta Braves topple the Houston Astros 6-2, take a 1-0 lead in the series.
FYI, this would not be breaking news except for the fact that it's the Atlanta Braves. If Astros won, probably wouldn't have mentioned it. But As somebody who just won a Super Bowl, I understand you're happy and you want to celebrate a little bit. Hopefully, whoever starts, whatever we decide to do, it works and we can get some momentum. I thought we had some momentum. And, maybe this is just like the Austin match. Because honestly, we have had a very good stretch of games the last 2 months-ish. We look at... Come on, there we go. Before the RGV match, we had a 4-2 win. We had a 1-1 draw on the road against San Diego. We had a 1-1 draw against RGV, which wasn't great. The 2-2 draw against Harvard wasn't fantastic. We did lose to Lou City, but that was in Lou City. 2-0 win against RGV, 1-0 win against San Antonio, 2-1 win against Real Monarchs. Then we had that dud on the 10th of September, and then a 3-2 win against Colorado Springs. So from September 4th, so basically all of September and all of October, we have lost only 3 matches, one of which was to Lou City in Lou City, and the other 2 just kind of feel like they're just kind of weird results. So hopefully that was the case Saturday, and as was the case against Austin back in September. And, maybe we just kind of had this weird rough patch and we can figure out how to score again and get this clinched. So how do you think this will affect them? So if RGV wins on Wednesday, their match on Saturday isn't until 6:30. So we won't really have any idea what's going on there because we play at 5. We really won't know what's going on there until late in our match, maybe. And then, that's when it starts, is like 30 minutes before our match is supposed to end. So is there a difference? Do you expect to see something different whether RGV wins or loses on Wednesday? Or draws?
No, I don't expect their result on Wednesday to impact who starts for us on Saturday.
I don't know, because I keep going back and forth. I'm like, man, if they win, then the guys know they gotta win to even have a chance. But then if they lose, it's like, okay, if we win, it's ours. Period. Point blank. Nothing else matters. So it's just kind of the only problem that if they lose on Wednesday, I could see them, because if they draw, if Rio Grande draws Saturday after a loss, or no, sorry, let me rephrase this. If Rio Grande loses Wednesday and we draw Saturday, then if Rio Grande wins, we're both sitting at 44, but I'm pretty sure RGV has a high tiebreaker on us.
Yes.
So you just got to go for the win and hope RGV drops points at some point. But I'm curious to see what RGV does Wednesday, because that'll go a long way in how confident I am when we get back to talking about Jerry's question here a while back about how confident we feel on a scale of 1 to 10. If RGV drops a result on Wednesday, then I'm feeling a lot better, because then I know if we just win, we're in. At this point, we could win, we could go out, we could spank them 5-0, and it might not matter. And so our confidence can't quite be to that level until we know what RGV does. So I will say that I'm feeling fairly confident, probably like a 7.5, maybe an 8. And I do think we go out and, it's the last game of the season. If it doesn't happen Saturday, it's never going to happen, but I'm going to go 4-0.
Yeah, again, Jerry's question, and I wanted to wait until this part of the show to talk about this. And a scale of 1 to 10, what are hopes of being in the playoffs? Obviously, you know, this goes back to a discussion we had a couple of weeks ago. I would much rather be in a position where we were comfortably in. Like it was already set in stone, we're going to be in, and we could take the time to, you know, work on some things during these matches, maybe rest a couple guys, and, you know, just work on trying to make sure everyone is ready to go for the playoffs. Based on how we've played recently, based on how Monarchs have played, I'm probably about a 7 or an 8 right now in terms of level of confidence and in our playoff hopes. Now, you know, and that's just based off of how I think we're going to play on Saturday, how I think our result is going to go. Now, looking at RGV's remaining schedule, obviously they have Monarchs tomorrow night. That should be an interesting watch. It's going to start 7 o'clock Mountain Time. Then they have El Paso on Saturday. I really don't think El Paso is going to sit anybody. I really don't. I mean, there's always a possibility, but you know, they did sit their guys last week, right, Jerry? Or was that against Los Dos?
That was a while back.
Yeah, you know, that they sat their guys, but you know, we'll see. We'll see. But that's where I am in terms of how I think we're going to play. I think it's going to end up being something like 2-0, like I said earlier. But yeah, I think we're going to walk away from that with a win, especially, you know, on home turf in front of the home crowd. I think there's just going to be a different level of energy, and I think we're going to see, you know, Bees Nation take over once again. So yeah, I think that's where we're at. And then of course, Jerry threw out his prediction for Saturday night: United 3, Monarchs 0. So Jerry picking New Mexico United for once. Good to see. Glad to see you, Jerry's showing a little bit of common sense there. Appreciate that, Jerry. So Jerry's got that. And then let's see, we've got a couple other things here in the chat. Chris, of course, will Nava be kind of like Brucey and how he gets time? So this was something we kind of talked about a couple of weeks ago, last week before. Brucey kind of got platooned this year until the injury to Harry. And I think and Brucey stepped into that role. He's been playing fantastically all season long. He's been energetic. He's made a real difference on the pitch when he's out there. But in terms of Christian going forward, looking at our potential forward situation for next year, you know, with the injury to Amando, with Dev being out, we don't know what his status is going to be. We don't know what Ilya's contract status is for next year. That leaves us with no forwards on the roster, you know? And so I think what happens is next year we see Christian, as long as he doesn't go off to college. I don't think he is, or I don't think he will, especially since he has that first team contract. I think Christian is in contention for a starting spot day one next year. And so I don't see Christian missing out on too many games starting next season. I mean, we've got this really bright young talent who brings a lot to the game. And so I think we could see Christian Nava in there starting next year.
The reason I disagree, the two reasons I disagree. One, he is so small right now. I am worried about him being able to get an abundance of minutes and stay upright. When we see how physical that match, those matches are, and he's young and he's a little on the small side. I would just like to see him get a little tougher, get a little more minutes under his belt before we say here's a starting spot. And then two, if we want to compete for a title, he can get minutes for us, but we cannot be relying on him. We cannot expect him to go out and start every match and perform as a 19-year-old, 18-year-old, whatever he'll be next year.
No, I'm not saying stick him up there as, the number 9. I'm not saying sticking up there by himself. Absolutely not. But I do think he is deserving of time, deserving of opportunities. I mean, will it be every match? No. But I do think he is in contention for a starting spot every week next season.
I don't know about a starting spot. I think he can be, like Chris said, how Brucey was in year 1, where Brucey came in off the bench and was like this, bam, spark off the bench. I just want to see him off the bench sooner. I want to see him in the 60th minute, in the 58th minute, the 62nd minute, not the 78th minute when he doesn't have enough time to settle in. And so I think next year I think he'll get a couple spot starts and stuff like that. But Chris brings up a point in the chat here that is exactly what I was thinking. Was if you look at Nava and then you look at Diego Luna from El Paso, Diego Luna is a thick boy. He is strong enough to take that beating, and I think they're about the same size height wise. I don't think Diego's not very tall, but Diego just has a body that's more filled out and more capable of taking a punishment than I think Nava is. Nava fights his ass off. Nava is a pit bull in the mold of Tenari from what I've seen so far. And I think he's come in with a chip on his shoulder because he's 17, 18 years old and he's small in stature. So he's going to come out and he's going to have to fight and prove himself. But I think Nava is a great piece for us going forward. And I hope that he gets some minutes. I mean, I put in the Facebook group on Saturday that he should have been in 10 minutes before I commented that. And it was still like 5 more minutes before he even came into the match. So it's going to be something to keep an eye out next year for sure. But we got to go out and sign some guys up top that are going to work out, and see if we can get this offense back up to above the level it was even in year 1.
So, I mean, Diego Luna has about 6 inches on Christian. He's also a year older.
Was he that much taller?
Yeah, about 6 inches taller.
Dang.
Yeah, according to the press release from when we signed Christian to the academy, I had him listed as 5'2", and so yeah, he does need to develop a little bit. Now, how tall he's actually going to, I don't know. I mean, that's a prediction game that no one's ever going to guess right.
The height, I'm not super worried about. We see short people compete in this league. That's one thing about soccer is that you can be 6'7", like Schuberg from Colorado or from San Antonio, and perform, or you can be in the 5-foot range, like a Messi or something like that. I know those are 2 giant discrepancies in talent there, but you see, like like Asante, you can see smaller people in stature compete and do well in this league, just like you can see giants do well in this league. That's one thing about soccer that's great. But unless he's going to flop around like a fish like Asante does, you got to be strong enough to take a little bit of contact and finish, or take a little bit of contact and get that pass off and get the cross off, or do this or do that, or just fight through it, be quick enough to get around it. And so I think Nava's quick enough to get around it most of the time. I'm just worried about the couple of times that he's not, when he gets crushed, if he's going to be able to keep up. So I don't know. We have a lot of time in the offseason to talk about that, though.
Yes, that we certainly do. And yeah, I think it's about that time of the show where we start to kind of wrap things up a little bit. You've heard our predictions for this weekend, and how we feel about our playoff chances, and you've heard our thoughts on a number of different things tonight. And so, like we mentioned at the top of the show, Jacob and I will be out there. We do still have flags to give out, folks. If you did not get a blackout night flag, let us know. We still have some of those to give away. We haven't really talked about that too much, but we do still have flags to give away. So if you didn't get one, let us know. We'll be happy to get you one. I think there's going to be some sort of flag given out this Saturday night as well. So, and I do have a couple extra Chili's flags. So I've got one for Earl, and you want one? I guess I can give you one.
Of course I want one. You do not see my wall?
Oh, so you are a fan.
Just a
I
little
wasn't
bit.
sure with how you tried to
little
give San Antonio points the other night. So
I do not recall this.
okay then.
We're gonna talk about it. I just said that I thought the penalty was a penalty. That's all I said. That was it.
Yeah, you're trying to give the match to San Antonio. I see how
And the
you are.
red card was a little bit soft, but that's it.
Yeah, so you're trying to give the match to San Antonio.
Trying to be unbiased here. That's what I'm trying to be. Anyways, yeah, so we do have those flags, the blackout flags to give away. We will be back next Tuesday. We will have probably results about the stadium bond next Tuesday. We will have.
That reminded me of something I wanted to do.
Okay. We will also have playoff preview. Whether we're in it or not, we will talk about the playoffs, at least in the Western Conference. Obviously, we'll have the results of Saturday's match to talk about. It'll be a very, very busy show next Tuesday. And with that, I will let Seth do whatever he was going to do, say whatever he was going to say, and then we can call it a night.
Oh no,
Oh, you weren't gonna do another show, something else. Okay.
Yeah, no, not gonna do it on the show. No, it's something that I was gonna reach out to the club about.
Okay. Well, we'll also, Seth is leaving us on a cliffhanger there, and he'll have to tell us next week what that was. But yeah, I think that it'll be a fun one next week, regardless of if we win or lose. We'll still have the playoffs to look forward to. Whether we're in them or not, like I said, hopefully we got good news on the stadium. Man, if we lose or miss out on the playoffs because RGV wins twice, and then the stadium bond fails, we might take Tuesday off. We might just have to wait a couple days for everybody to recoup and feel a little bit better. So, but the plan as of right now, we will be back Tuesday night, 9:00. I think Earl will be with us. I'm pretty sure he will be. I know he's coming back this weekend. But we'll all be here to talk about it, talk about everything that I mentioned and more. It's just going to be a fun one. Seth, do you have updated standings on the football picks? Because I know Earl didn't get his in till late.
No, I haven't looked at that today.
Right.
So.
Well,
I will get those numbers together tonight after I finish my online classes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. All right, guys. Well, come back next Tuesday. Chris, Tito, Jerry, thank you for all coming to the chat and having the conversation with us and whatnot. We just really appreciate you guys, Black Diamonds and La Maldición, whatever. You guys are just doing great things there. So just keep it up. Jerry, go to bed or go to work, do whatever you need to do. And we'll see everybody next Tuesday. Somos Lindos.